Hey guys, Blake here to give you an update on what happened over the past few days with me and Paul going to Parliament. Now, we had a great time going to Parliament on Wednesday morning. Paul generously came all the way down from Auckland to help and to assist with the day, so I want to thank him for that. First of all, and thank him for his time, and I also want to give a shout out to departing News Hub Deputy Political Editor Amelia Wade for coming along and asking some questions as well. So that was greatly appreciated and really eased me in to give me a chance to talk to a member of the media. And we are hoping to maybe collaborate again on an update story later in the year when she moves to her new position when News Hub finishes up. So if anything comes of that, I'll be sure to keep you posted. Now, what we also did yesterday was after giving the petition to her, we had a long meeting with the disability spokesperson for the Labour Party, Priyanka Radhakrishnan, and where she asked us questions about the petition. We got to ask questions about the minimum wage issue that we'll do a bigger piece on at some point that she may even appear on, but the details are still being finalised and that could be some time away, but we'll be sure to keep you posted on that. Where we talked about, as I say, the wage issue, the petition, and just issues with the disability community and care issues in general for the disabled community, along with Chris Hipkins and Carmel Cipollone from the Labour Party. Julian Gentle was there as well, so it was great to see a few of the opposition parties represented. What was also really cool is that there was abuse and care presentation going on at the same time, as Paul mentioned in one of his recent videos, and a couple of the members came over to support the cause while I was being interviewed by Amelia. So that was really, really, really cool to be able to bring those two great causes together. So it was good to see, those two causes coming together. Now, unfortunately, that's where the positivity ends on this, and we got a quite surprising development at the end of the day that we were advised of by Priyanka. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Paul, and he will explain where we go to from here and how we need your help, or how we may need your help. So here's Paul with that.
Hey, thanks for that, Blake, and thanks for inviting me down. It was a fantastic trip. I had a lot of fun and I learned a whole bunch along the way, and it was really, really cool to see you being able to sit down and chat with those MPs and the media and tell them your story, because I think that's a really important thing that people need to be aware of when it comes to these cuts to whaikaha and other cuts that have been made, particularly around the disability sector in the last few weeks. It's not a good thing to have to sit down and watch what happens, so it's really important, I think, for those stories to be told to our politicians. And there were some politicians from some interesting places that we met there, which is really good to see. What he was talking about, though, with the next little hurdle, well, it's actually kind of the next step in the process when it comes to how petitions work within our government. It's all very complicated, kind of, in that there's so many petitions that are always coming through, and Yes, some might not be as hugely popular as others, but they might be just as important. So there's a whole bunch of how do you get your petition in front of a select committee? And that comes down to something called the Petitions Committee. It's a group of 4 MPs who are there to decide whether or not a petition goes forward into a select committee process, or whether or not it gets accepted and put straight into Parliament, whether or not they do something like amalgamate a couple of different petitions on the same topic so it can go to a select committee to talk around that issue in particular. So we're not sure what's going to happen next. The only way that we can sort of try and push the scales a little bit in our favour is by actually contacting the MPs directly who are involved in the decision-making process and explain to them why it's so important that they pull forward conversations around what's happening here with funding for the disability sector. Those 4 MPs are actually Greg O'Connor, who's a Labour Party MP, Greg Fleming, who is a National Party MP, Carl Bates, who's also a National Party MP, and Francisco Hernandez, who is a Green Party MP. Email those 4 and let them know why it's so important you think that this petition needs to be heard by a select committee or accepted and put straight into Parliament. There's a whole bunch of different facets to our democracy that make sure that those checks and balances are in place to make sure our government is doing what it needs to do and looking at the parts that are really important for the public as a whole. And this is just another one of those facets. So that's what I'm going to be doing over this long weekend. I'm going to be going and writing some emails. Hope you guys have a fantastic long weekend. And Blake, again, thank you very much for the whole day yesterday. And please make sure you know how proud I am of what you've achieved. It's really cool.